right, everyone, welcome to Pub Sports Radio. He's Jeff Nadu, big man on campus. My name is Peter Loshak. We do this every Saturday morning, 10:30 Eastern Time. Jeff Nadu, last week was actually a fairly successful week for us. I don't know exactly how well you did, but it was fairly successful. We had some winners and losers. This week, I'll be honest, I'm pretty hopeful. Pretty hopeful, Jeff Nadu. I made a lot of bets. I'm kind of liking them all. I think we might be on the same side as a bunch of these bets because some of the games that you identified are bets that games involved that had bets that I made that I feel pretty confident about. I'm very looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to have an okay show. I'm not trying to jinx anything here, Jeff Nadu. How you feel about this week?
I feel pretty good as well. I think we both had a decent week last week. We identified some good spots. And, I think when you and I a lot of the time come together on certain things, we generally do pretty well. So I will say I think, I noticed one or two of your games. Someone identified to me early in the week that it was sharp action on those games. So we'll talk a little bit about that and all that and all the games here.
Yeah, we certainly will. I'm looking for the comment section. We will get into it game by game. Just let me quickly go over the what's in the comment section. I don't like to see that. The first comment I look at is Oklahoma -6. That's one of the games that I took. I took Kansas in that one, but he got a great line -6. If you got that one, I got to the line was a lot higher earlier in the week, and now I believe
it's.
I don't know, but yeah, is he talking about Oklahoma? I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, I thought it opened at like 10 and then has gotten bet down. But we will talk about that game. That's one of the games. Oh God, Torrey Coker. Also, I love Oklahoma today -8. I'm putting 4. All right, well, good thing about college football is you can have one horrible bet, horrible pick, and still have a very winning day. Torrey Coker does like North Texas +7. That's one of my bets, and Duke +7. I don't know where he got that, but I took Louisville. We'll see what you have to say about that. We'll talk about all this shit. Stacks play of the day is Texas -20. That is a bet that I made as well. I agree with that one. It's a little bit of a high line, of course. So, you could have a 17-point win or something like that, but I think Texas rolls. We'll talk about that. Torrey Coker's on Wake Forest +21. That's an interesting one. I've passed on that one. So just glancing over B Smooth says, I think Kansas wins outright. Okay, we'll see. Victor Ray says, liking Purdue. That is also one of the games that I'm going to talk about, that I asked for myself to talk about, and that is the bet that I made. I did take Purdue. Robert Franklin, Texas State, Troy, under 53. That's interesting. M. Sizzle likes Ohio -7.5. Now, I can't disagree with that, but, a lot of people are talking about how the Miami, Ohio quarterback Gabbard is out, which is true. His backup, a little bit questionable, but doesn't have no experience and, might be able to keep him close within a touchdown. So I'm not sure about that. I actually did not bet that one. Ohio, UCF -6.5. Julian Cesario likes that one. That might be right. I took West Virginia +7. What can I tell you? He also likes UNC -11. Robert Franklin likes Cal +11. I took that. I took Cal as well. Louisville, Luke Worker likes Louisville. Yeah, I took that. All right, I'm just going over all the comments here. All right, enough. Let's get into it. You ready, Jeff Nadu?
Yep, let's do it.
Let's go. First game you want to talk about, Indiana, Penn State. 12 noon. Of course, Indiana got blasted by Rutgers. 4 straight ATS losses for Indiana, and then Penn State lost to Ohio State, first straight-up loss and ATS loss on the year. Their first ATS loss on the year. Now they're a massive favorite with a low total. We knew that's what the lines would be. Question is here, is Penn State going to come back absolutely furious and lay the hammer down on Indiana, or did their bubble burst a little bit, as Joe Duffy might say, and maybe we want to fade them? I'm not exactly sure. Massive line for Penn State. Why'd you pick this game, Jeff?
Peter, it's Joe Duffy from and No, but not for nothing. I do think their bubble burst, surely, but when you look at Penn State, man, they just crush these types of teams. I mean, for whatever reason, James Franklin has major issues in big time games, but in these types of games, he takes care of business. You come back off a loss, you're dealing with a team right now in Indiana that just can't move the football. And look, how do you move the football against Penn State? You got to have some big plays, high-level receivers like a Marvin Harrison. Indiana doesn't have that type of player. You also look at their defense. Indiana's really, really struggling. And Peter, when you lay a big number like this, you cannot lay it with teams that don't score touchdowns in the red zone. So, for instance, if you're laying 31, you can't constantly be kicking field goals. Penn State is number 2 in all of college football in touchdown rate. They've been to the red zone 34 times. They have 28 touchdowns, most of which are against bad opponents. I think they take some frustration out today on Indiana. Indiana may not score in this game. This could be, a 34-0 type of game. I kind of had it, 38-3, something like that. I'm going to rock with Indiana and lay the points. This is similar to, I don't know if it'll be the UMass game, but I don't think it's that far off in essence.
Yeah, I mean, Penn State does lay the hammer this year on these bad teams. They even blasted Iowa, although that game was just 10-0 at the half. But yeah, the UMass game, we were wondering if maybe they wouldn't care. They did. It was 28 at the half. And I'm seeing Indiana first half minus 18 at Pinnacle. You can buy to 17 at minus 135. You just like a full game, right?
Yeah, I'm just gonna rock on a full performance. We know, again, listen, if there's any hope for Penn State, you need to continue to win by margins. And look, that's what they do. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to go on that. And again, they are good in the red zone. They do the things that you like as a big favorite. So yeah, I think Indiana's just kind of, this team's kind of lost, man. I mean, I don't really know where to go. Look at the Michigan game. I mean, they got crushed last week by Rutgers. I really like Rutgers last week. I mentioned on this show. So yeah, this one, I'll lay the number. Yeah,
they even got blasted by Maryland. They hung tight with Ohio State, but that was the first game of the year. So that's wacky things happen, we know, in week one. Man, Jeff Nader, you might have a good play there. I think I might tell you on this one. Wanted to hear what you had to say about it. All right, first game that I wanted to talk about, here we go, Oklahoma, Kansas, right? 12 noon, Kansas. It was opened as a big underdog, 10 points. I took them there. It's gotten bet down to 8.5 or 8. We do have one guy in the comments section saying Oklahoma is free money. Okay, all right. I'm not exactly sure what, I wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma wins this by 10, but is that a 50% proposition? I bet not. We do know that Kansas has, quarterback issues, but, the replacement Bean, threw for a bunch of yards last week, in the loss to Oklahoma State. And, I'm sorry, in the last game that was on the 14th, Kansas off a bye. So now, they're off a bye. They're coming in. They're a home dog. I can understand why on paper there's reasons to not like them. But I took them. I took Kansas. Some people call for a Kansas outright win. That wouldn't surprise me either. What do you think, Jeff Nadeau?
Yeah, so one of the first bets I made when these numbers came out was Kansas. I grabbed 10. Okay. I wish I could have grabbed the 10.5. But as you know, I mean, you look at a lot of this stuff. The first gamblers that are coming in betting these games, you generally, if you side with them, you'll do pretty well. A lot of money came in on Kansas early in this game. I think the thought is this game's just a shootout, back and forth within a touchdown, kind of like these games generally go. I'm not exactly sold on Oklahoma's defense. I think over the last couple of weeks, we've seen that if you can kind of attack them downfield, you can hang in games. UCF's not a great football team, but they were able to hang around. But this is the last, I think, kind of mountain for Oklahoma to climb. This group is obviously undefeated, as we know, and they don't have many tests left. This is a test. I love Jalen Daniels, but I don't mind Jason being here. Also, as one of the commenters talk about, Leopold is a really, really, really good coach. I mean, he knows how to attack offensively. He's good as an underdog. And again, I have two defenses here that are just kind of look, is Oklahoma a little bit better? Maybe, but it's not enough for me to lay a number like this.
Yeah.
I think if you're betting it now, I think you have, you're definitely not going to get the best price, but early money on this game. I mean, you look at this number, Peter, at DraftKings, it's 8. I mean, in other books, I mean, I'm seeing 9 at FanDuel. So, I mean, this number's all over the place.
You've seen 7.5 at Pinnacle. I thought it was going to hold at 8. Interesting stuff here. Yeah, let me see. Justin McElvey likes the Oklahoma team total over 37.5. Primetime 99 says. Yeah, Primetime 99 says Kansas money line, and Perky Sanderson III, who says Oklahoma's free money, says at Loshak in all caps, "You are smarter than this." I mean, Sanderson knows that I'm not that smart, but he thinks I'm at least smarter than this to say that Kansas is a good bet. Wow, this is some interesting.
It's interesting, Peter, in this game. I think we've seen, and I remember you and I talked about this the first week we did this show. Will the time differences in like the stopping the clock, will that affect totals? And I think what we're seeing here is 63 as a total now is like 72 a year or two ago. Like it's hard to get to those totals, man. This is 65. I think if you like Kansas, maybe in this kind of game, you just take the over if you think they're going to hang around. But it is cold. That's one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Lawrence, Kansas today, it's 39 degrees at kick time. No rain or wind really, but it is raw there. So I kind of like the over as well.
Yeah. All right. So Perky Sanderson, I'm sorry to disappoint you. You thought I was smarter than this. No, I'm not. I'm going to stick with my Kansas play. Once again, there's just one play. We'll see. All right. Let's move on. Next thing you want to talk Memphis, North Texas. This was one, if you hadn't chosen it, I probably would have chosen it. North Texas, I took them on the opening line at 8. Now it's down to 7 or 6.5. Still like it. Memphis blasted UAB last week, and that was one of your calls. Or was that? I can't even remember. But Memphis blasted. It was a bad spot for UAB. They had quarterback issues last minute, and Memphis absolutely rolled. North Texas lost to Tulane, but they did cover, and Tulane, of course, is a juggernaut. So a loss, but a cover against Tulane is not necessarily a bad accounting of oneself as a team. And my only concern, I guess, maybe a letdown for North Texas after the big game against Tulane, but getting this many points. I took them. North Texas plus the points against Memphis. I bet it, and I'm guessing that's what you like here.
Peter, I have a story for you. You want to hear it?
Yes.
So I talked to an individual who, according to the federal government, at one point was a part of a certain Italian-American subculture, okay?
Oh, shit.
I'm just going to tell you. And he was involved in gambling, also so a lot of things that we do. Guess who he identified as the top sharp bet team, according to Chris and all sorts of books? North Texas.
North Texas?
Every wise guy's betting North Texas. All the smart people are betting North Texas. Yes, true story. And all week, the number has dropped. 8's way off, 7.5's way gone, and now you have 7 here. North Texas is a team who, when you look at them, they have a quality quarterback. I don't know if you noticed last week, they were getting beat up by Tulane, didn't stop playing, came back, covered the game. Maybe could have won the game late if not for some, 1 or 2 things that went wrong. But, Memphis is just not a real good football team to me. I know they blew out UAB last week, but they went down in that game, had to kind of fight back. I don't love them on defense. Seth Hennigan's not looked great at times to me. This is a high-scoring game. It kind of screams like the game we just talked about with Oklahoma, Kansas. Probably a shootout. Yeah, it's down to 6.5 now. Sharps are all over North Texas. I like this spot.
All right, I'm on it too. Hey, Jeff, that friend of yours, I need someone murdered. Do you think he could help me get someone murdered? Is that something he's involved in?
No, he's not.
Oh, okay. All right. Anymore. Okay. Just took a shot. Okay. I'm just kidding around. Go ahead.
I maybe could figure that out for you. Sure.
No, to all the fucking AI policemen out there.
Yes,
I was just fucking kidding, you fucking AI morons, you bot morons. It's a fucking joke. All right, let's move on. All right, yeah, so I'm on it. North Texas. So hopefully if Oklahoma does prove to be easy money, my bet on North Texas will even out the losses there.
That's a great number, Peter. Let me ask you though. Okay, the number's now 6.5, 7. You can't bet it at that price. Like if you're looking at this game and saying, I'm going to double North Texas now, there's nothing good about betting it at 6.5. Nothing. Like you're not gonna.
Right. I would if I didn't already have my bet. I would though, and I'd probably buy to 7 just to soothe my nerves. Sure. But yeah. All right. Let's move on. Another game I bet. We'll see. Is this a loser or a bet or a winner? I don't know. Who are the former murderers on? I don't know. Clemson and North Carolina State is a game that I bet. I took NC State at +10. Of course, Clemson lost at Miami in OT, and NC State off the blowout loss at Duke. NC State. I was on Duke in that game. I think we talked about it that Saturday. But here, both these teams have been bad ATS. Now NC State has a little bit of time to figure something out. The whole issue is just, have they given up on this season? I don't think they have. I think they'll come in and fight. They have quarterback issues. MJ Morris, I believe, is getting the start here, which I think will be okay. And it should be a close game, I think. Last year they played. They were both ranked in the top 10. Now they're both bad bets ATS. I took NC State plus the points at 10. I would take them at the current line of 9.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a little high. I think we're kind of marketing Clemson as, that team of a couple of years ago. I still just don't see it. They're not as elite. We all know that. But, NC State's off a bye. I think MJ Morris is probably the better option over Brennan Armstrong. What a mess that's been. I don't think they've given up. I mean, they have 4 wins. I mean, I think the goal is obviously getting to a bowl game. Still a very winnable games here. You got a home game against a quality opponent off a bye. It's a game you should be up for. Again, I would want 10, which I think you said you did get.
Yeah, no, I did get. Yeah.
I would have, anything above a touchdown, I'd have some interest in. This is a weird conference. You have some weird performances by teams. I would go that way also. NC State can't be this bad.
Yeah, and Robert Wood says under game here. I do like that one a little bit as well, and the Clemson team total under as well. Robert Franklin says Marshall -3. We'll talk about that after our 10 games. There's quarterback
Real
issues
quick.
for. Go ahead.
I put this number at 48. I thought it was a little low. I thought this was like 27, 24. I think 43 I thought was a bit high or a bit low. I'm sorry.
Yeah, which also might be telling you something. Raymond Reichart says, anyone have a look on West Virginia, UCF? It's one. I took West Virginia plus the points, but it could easily be one of those games or just a road game for West Virginia, and they get steamrolled, and it's not even close. They're like, what was I thinking? But I did take West Virginia. Okay, let's see. Next game on the card that you wanted to talk about. Jeff Nadeau is I'm getting confused because I'm like, this is also a game that if you hadn't identified, I might have taken it. And I almost certainly would have. Tulane against Rice. Tulane, again, beat North Texas, but didn't cover. Rice rolled Tulsa in their last game. Rice has 2 extra rest days. Tulane, a very impressive team, but I took Rice at 11.5 on the opening line. It's gotten bet down to 10. I would still take it at 10. Tulane, the better team, but Rice should. We've talked about Rice all year. And in week 1, you said they're not that bad. And once again, I will quote you back to yourself, Jeff Nadeau. Rice, they're not that bad. Double-digit home dog. I took them against Tulane. I'm assuming that's what you like here.
Yeah, I mean, they're not that bad because they have a good quarterback, JT Daniels. They're well coached. They're good offensively. And they're not as bad defensively as some teams in this conference. And Tulane is a group who – they make games interesting. I don't think they're a group that I'd want to lay double digits with at this point. Look, are they a good offense? Sure. I don't love them on defense. As I mentioned, touchdown rate. Rice is very high. They score touchdowns when they get to the red zone. And as a dog, you need that. Here's my concern, though, and this is just one concern. Tulane is very good against the spread. They were great against the spread last year. They've been good this year. But again, this number seemed just too high to me. We're almost grading Rice as that team of a year or two ago that wasn't very good, and Tulane is undefeated like they were last year. I don't see it. If you're going to give me 10.5, 11, Rice is 5-2 against the spread. Again, not a great team straight up, but good against ATS. You're going to give me double digits at home, I'm in.
Okay, Julian Cesario likes Rice plus 10. Robert Franklin likes Rice plus 10. And the odds bunch says, the drill, Montgomery over 3.5 strikeouts, -120. Everyone in the comments section, also you, Jeff Nadeau, and also Jose Bouquet, although he already knows, follow the fucking odds bunch. That's a Sharpie. This guy fucking knows what he's doing. He put me on the under in the hits, runs, and errors in the last game of the Arizona series, which cashed, and he put me on Gallon over 4.5 strikeouts, which cashed. I'm going to be on that one. Montgomery over 3.5 strikeouts. Huge shout out to the odds bunch and Sharpie. Everyone watch that show. Everyone follow him. All right.
Hey, Peter.
Next,
let me ask you
go ahead.
Real quick. By the way, for anyone out there right now watching the show, do me a favor, hit that like button. If you're new here, subscribe. But I got to ask you a question. We didn't address this. Do you have any idea why Kansas is getting so much love in the market? Like, is it possible that Jalen Daniels could play? Maybe is that why this number's down to 7.5?
Why are they getting so much love? I mean, well, my answer, I don't know why, but my answer would be like, even if he's not playing, I still like him. You know what I mean?
No, I know, but like, is there something that maybe we're not? I mean, again, like this number's moved a lot. Not a lot of
I think if he were playing, it probably would have moved more, and then I would like it less. Maybe I don't know. It's hard to say, but yeah, even without him playing, I've expected it to move a little bit, or at least not have been surprised. And Sizzle likes Tulane. Okay, -10. Call me crazy. I don't want to call you crazy. We'll call you a little bit out there. Left of center, but not flat out crazy. Shout out to you, M. SZA. All right. Next game on the card, BYU Texas. This is what I took. Now, BYU beat Texas Tech as a small home dog in their last game. Got a little bit lucky there. They're not that good. Texas, of course, beat Houston in the last game, but they lost ATS as a huge favorite, and they should be salty. I'm hoping that the fact that they won doesn't mean that they're not. But I have to think that, and I know that, the starter is out for Texas, and who's going to be in, Malik Murphy or the Arch Manning freshman. Whoever's at quarterback for Texas, I think they'll be prepared. I think they'll be salty, and I think that they should roll. Obviously, it's, this is not one of these, this is not free money. I do think it's maybe a 54, 55% proposition. Texas at anything better than -21. What do you think?
This is a weird one, man. I kind of want to. I felt like it was too high with a backup quarterback. But again, it's Texas. I mean, there's obviously something there with Murphy, but I don't know. BYU hasn't been another team. They're not that bad. I mean, I think they played pretty well in most games this year. They've won pretty much every game they should. And then they had that weird head scratching performance against TCU, but I kind of just strike it up as it was just one of those off games and didn't play well. Analytically and offensively, they're not good. They haven't played well on that level. But again, if you look at the TCU game, it was just they didn't play well at any level. They weren't good on defense. They weren't good on offense. I chalked that up. I thought even where it is, 17.5? I thought that was high with a backup quarterback. I could understand if Ewers was playing, but he's not. I kind of lean the other way personally, but it's not a game that I will be wagering on. I wish you luck. I hope you win. It was just kind of a guess to me.
Yeah, people are also talking about how Daniels has been ruled out, and Robert Franklin saying he's doubtful.
I know that.
Go ahead.
I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I've heard people have been ruled out before. For instance, 2 weeks ago, Louisville's top receiver was ruled out, Jamari Thrash, and then all of a sudden, I put the game on and I see he's running down the field with the football. So I don't always believe and that's the problem with college right now. Sometimes they'll tell you people are out, then they play. I'm just saying it's moved a lot. Maybe there's something going on there, but I get it.
Yeah. Well, I'm on the play. It's down to 10 now. And the Texas play, I think they roll. It's as much a fade of BYU after last week as it is a play on Texas. Also play on Texas.
So 20.5? Fuck.
Yeah. Where was it ever lower than that? I saw
whatever. Yeah. For whatever reason, I thought it was like 18 or 17.5. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe. Go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
all right. Well, next game on the card is one that you took. I would not have taken this, but I did bet it, and I have small leans on both of them. We'll see what you have to say. Tennessee, Kentucky. Everyone get ready. Tennessee, Kentucky. Tennessee, of course, off the loss to Alabama. Kentucky off a bye and 2 losses. Tennessee probably a little bit pissed off, I guess. But my thoughts on this one were take Kentucky at anything better than 3 and shot with the under at 52. It's now down a point or two, I think, but I would still take that one. I have bets on Kentucky plus 3.5 and the under. Both could lose. If they do, that'll be okay as long as I win, 25 out of the other 40 bets I have going on today's card. Kentucky in the under. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, every week you look at these lines, you say to yourself, what just doesn't make sense? And this game, to me, it didn't make sense. I don't understand why Kentucky's a 4-point dog at home. I just didn't see it. Tennessee continues to get respect by bookmakers, and that's no different here. Keep a couple things in mind. Generally, backing teams off buys are good ideas. It generally works out well. Kentucky's off a bye. Last time they played, they got blown out against Georgia. And Peter, I think you and I have talked about this. The big question with Kentucky is what's up with Devin Leary? I think I might have the idea as to what's wrong with him. There's 2 things. Supposedly he has some sort of pec issue in his upper body. The bye might have been good for him to get some therapy. And number 2, Devin Leary leads the SEC as far as drop yards. So how many times his receivers are dropping the football when there's probabilities that they'll have big gains. His receivers have done him no favors. So I'm hoping that coming off the bye, they're a little bit better at not dropping the football. They haven't helped him. I think long-term, though, is he really that worse of an option over Joe Milton? I'm not really sure I see it. We know Kentucky can run the ball. We know they have a good defense. They're at home, and they have a revenge spot in their minds here after getting crushed last year. I think this is a good spot to back Kentucky. I didn't understand. Look, I get if you want to make Tennessee maybe a small favorite, but 3.5, 4, I didn't see it. I like Kentucky.
Craig Wood says Texas will probably run the hell out of the ball and shorten the game. Yeah, I also like the under in that one. Even though it's a low total, I took a shot with that, and I might also add on the BYU team total under as well. Yeah, it's EQ says Tennessee by 10. I see -10. Would not be surprised by that. Robert Franklin liking Tennessee -4. If Tennessee wins comfortably, would not be a shock. But Jeff, they do liking Kentucky plus the points, and I'm taking it as well. Go ahead. Yeah.
For anyone that likes Tennessee, I guess I'll just ask this: like, who have they really beaten of quality? I guess like that's my thing. I think we're really down on Kentucky for some reason. This has been a really good team outside of a bad performance against an elite team in Georgia. I think we're just a little down on Kentucky, but I feel like I've had a good read on them all year, so I'll trust it again here.
All right, well, here's a comment I don't like to see. Jake Burns says, as a Kentucky fan, I don't think they win. You know how I feel about these comments, Jeff. If just someone pulls an opinion out their ass, I'm like, okay, that's just some dude's opinion. But if it's prefaced by I've been a fan of this team or this conference my whole life, I don't think they win. That's a comment I don't like.
In general, so
what?
Fans are just negative in general sometimes.
No, sometimes a lot of times they'll be like, "Trust me, they're gonna roll." Blah 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 blah. I don't like to see that comment from Jake Burns as a Kentucky fan. I don't think they win. All right, hopefully they covered. Yeah, Ron and Berge says Kentucky always starts off strong, then fades every year. Shout out to Kingu, everyone honking at people, listening to all our opinions. Everyone who's sitting next to Kingu right now, take Montgomery over 3.5 strikeouts. All right, Jeff Nadu. Next game I want to talk about, again, has moved. Purdue, Nebraska. Purdue is off a bye. They have not been good ATS overall on the year. But Nebraska, they beat Northwestern. They were too big of a favorite there as well. Their team I don't mind fading, and Nebraska has a lot of injuries on offense here. So I took a shot with the under. It's gotten bet down. I still would like the under a little bit now. And I took a shot with Purdue as a dog to win outright. And I'm also going to probably add on the Nebraska team total under as well. Should be a drag-out fight. Purdue, I think, will be a little healthier. I like Purdue to win outright, lean under, even at the current line, and also like a Nebraska team total under. What do you think?
Well, in Nebraska, we obviously know them from some of the games against good teams that they didn't play real good in, but against teams they should beat, they've taken care of business. I mean, you look at this schedule, the games at home. I don't think Purdue's very good. I don't think they're good on defense. They've kind of struggled all year on offense. It's been a weird year. I think a lot of people thought they'd be better than they were. Now you got to couple that and going on the road. I kind of lean the other way. This number's been bet up to 2.5. Anything under a field goal, I'll lean on Nebraska. They're an elite defense, regardless of what you said.
Yes.
They've been good all year on that end. And again, they win these types of games, man. They've taken care of business, and I'll trust them in these kind of spots yet again.
No, I also took the under and the team total under. So I've had a lot of games this year where I've got the side, the total, and the team total way wrong on the side, but then the total and the team total cashes. So, if Nebraska wins it, like 17-10 or something, then I'll cash. Then I'll go 2-1. But yeah, I like the under as well, probably more than this Purdue side and the Nebraska team total under also. All right, Jeff Nadu, this game I got nothing on. I'm passing. Maybe I'll tail whatever you have to say. It's an interesting one. Air Force, Colorado State, everyone. Air Force, Colorado State. So if Jeff picked it, that means he's got a fairly strong opinion, although the line has moved. Air Force, of course, a double-digit road favorite here. It opened at like 11.5 or something. I don't remember exactly where it opened, but now it's up to 14. Total is about 50. Air Force is off the Navy win. Colorado State, they lost but covered in that tough game at UNLV. I had Colorado State in that one. This one, man, I don't know. I would have taken Air Force if it was 4 or something, but as a double-digit favorite, couldn't pull the trigger on it. I'd be leaning over. I don't know. This is a crazy game. I'm a little bit surprised. You made it one of your 5. What do you like here, Jeff?
This has been nothing but Air Force money all week. I mean, this number was like 11. Now it's up to 14.5. Could even go higher. Going above 14 is obviously a big, moving across a key number. But Peter, this is one thing I love about military schools. I think you can almost sometimes identify a lot of matchups that just don't work for them. And when you look at Air Force, look at their games. When they play a team that can't move the football, okay, they're always low scoring. Not surprising at all. Very basic, rudimentary thinking. Sam Houston, Navy, those teams that can't throw the football, they're generally low scoring. But look at the teams that can throw the football, okay? Utah State, San Jose State, even Wyoming. What do we see in those 3 games? Higher scoring. What do we know about Colorado State? One, they can't stop you, me, and 9 listeners, okay? And they have a quarterback who say what you want. They're going to throw the football. They're never going to stop throwing the football. And I think they can come and hang around and give you some points on your scoreboard here. Air Force is going to score. If they get into the 30s in every game, to me, 46 is just too low of a total in this game. I don't see this being, 27-10. I think this is probably more like 34-20. Air Force is good, but they have Army on deck, which is a kind of a big game in that group's thinking process. Colorado State never really quits, and every game Colorado State plays in is high scoring. I just feel like Colorado State can't stop anybody, and they'll add to the scoreboard. Look at all their scores. I mean, every game they play in is 31-26 or 43-35, 40. They gave up 20 to Utah Tech, Colorado State. Utah Tech. Who the hell is that?
Yeah.
Over.
That's what I was thinking. But again, it opened at 50. I mean, a huge move towards Air Force and the under. I would have been leaning Colorado State and the over. But Robert Franklin likes the over 46. Regis Austin says Air Force team total over. I would agree with that. I might take a shot with that with the over at the current line. All right, let's move on. Let's try to keep first pace. Duke and Louisville is the next game I want to talk about. Duke got blasted by Florida State last week. I believe we talked about that on the show. I had that one. Louisville is off their bye. They lost to Pitt after the Notre Dame win. We both had Pitt. That was a great call. Now, Louisville's off their bye. They're back home, and I took a shot with Louisville. Now, Duke, they have all those quarterback issues, and you were talking about that earlier about how teams are like, this guy's questionable, probable, whatever, and then you see him playing on the field. And here, who knows what the quarterback situation is going to be for Duke. Leonard is day-to-day. The other guy might have to come in again. I don't know. But I took shots with the under and with Louisville. It's gotten bet up to 6. I don't love fading Duke as a dog, but took small shots with Louisville. -4 and the under at 47. Those lines have both moved. I think I would still take a shot with Louisville now. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, I'm never big on betting the worst number when you could have got 4.5 earlier. Yeah. But even 6, listen, in this case with the quarterback situation, if Riley Leonard does play, I don't believe he'll be healthy, so I don't care that he plays, nor do I care if it's the backup either. Louisville, as you said, is awful bye, and I'm not going to just knock them down because they lost to Pitt. We know those games in college football happen where you just have a down game, you don't play well. I still think Louisville's offense is really good. I don't think Duke can keep up with it. We saw last week, without a healthy Riley Leonard, just Duke isn't a very good football team. You need that guy. You have to have him. I like Louisville as well, and I think most people, smart people, agree with it. You got a great play on 4. Even at 6, I'd probably take it.
Yeah, and I would lean the Duke team total under as well at 20.5. And it's cutting it close, but I would lean that way. All right, let's move on. No, that was the last game. That was the last game I want to talk about. All right, so those were all the 10 games that we want to talk about, but we have a huge card and a bunch of bets that I made. Shout out whatever games and bets you like for the next 25 minutes or so. Let's just start it with a big one. Georgia, Florida. Of course, it's technically a neutral site. 14-point dog is Florida. Could lose. I took a small shot with Florida getting all those points. You think that was a mistake?
I don't think it was a mistake. I could see making cases for both sides. Here's my problem. We look at Georgia, it seems like they've kind of come into their own. I wonder what they are, though, without Brock Bowers. That's kind of my question. He's a big part of that offense. Carson Beck's had a pretty good season, all encompassed, but how good will he be without him? Florida, I just keep going back to that Kentucky game where they just could not stop the run. Georgia, if they get up 10, 17 points, they're just going to lean on the run and say, stop it. I'm not sure Florida can. So that's my concern. I don't know. This was a tough one to me.
Yeah. B Smooth says, Nadu, who you like in the West Virginia UCF game? I said I like West Virginia. B Smooth doesn't really care. Wants to know who Jeff Nadu likes. What do you think? West Virginia, UCF, or pass?
Yeah, it seems like, and I'm sure you've noticed this, it seems like every game UCF plays is, 31-29, 36-35. I mean, every game's high scoring. That offense is really good. And West Virginia surprised me this year. I did not think this team would be as good as they've been. I like them on offense. Both these teams run the ball really effectively. You could see a lot of big chunk plays on the ground. I kind of leaned over the total. And I also thought 7 was a bit high, personally. Is UCF good enough to lay this type of number? And it seems like people agree because it's now down to 6.5. If you like West Virginia, you got to try to get a 7. Line chop, see if you can't get a 7. But this seemed 34-30 to me.
Yeah, I mean, both West Virginia and UCF are kind of high volatility. I could see UCF, absolutely rolling. Like, where did that come from? West Virginia disappearing. But I took a shot with West Virginia. All right, let's, Ronnie and Bergia, thoughts on Oregon State, Arizona. Of course, this is a huge game. Arizona, a small home dog, both off a bye. Both have been great ATS. Huge game. At the line, I took Arizona +4, not because I necessarily thought it was a great bet, but I thought more than 53 or 54%. Why should Arizona be a home dog in this spot? I took a shot with it. Although, of course, if Oregon State wins by 10 or 20, it wouldn't be a massive surprise. What do you think?
Yeah, that hook's definitely bothering me, man. I kind of want to play Oregon State. I've seen mostly 3.5s. But yeah, this is one of those spots where you look at Arizona and you say, well, they're not always very good. What's going on here? Arizona's been really good. I mean, it hasn't really mattered who's played quarterback. They've been legit. I mean, defensively, they've been a little bit better. And I'm almost worried at this point about Oregon State on defense. They've given up some crooked numbers recently. They're another team off a bye. We're hearing that a lot, off buys. Both these teams are very good in the red zone, particularly Oregon State. They are one of the best teams in the country in scoring touchdowns. I kind of like the over a little bit. I really do. I think both these offenses have kind of found their rhythm. Arizona's good in the red zone too. I think this is a shootout kind of late night in Pac-12 after dark.
Next, Primetime 99 says, anyone like Minnesota -6.5 against Michigan State? Rand says Minnesota sucks, and I will admit that this is another bet that I made, that if it loses by 20, I'll be okay with it. I took Michigan State +7, and I took the under as well. Figure it's going to be a low-scoring, relatively close game. Michigan State, of course, is a disaster every year, so in a game like this where they're on the road, maybe they're a little salty and pissed off against a team that doesn't have a big offense. I took Michigan State +7, and I took a shot with the under.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the growing thought is, and this is a pretty simple way to think about college football, if you have two teams that have bad quarterbacks and good defenses, generally the game will go under. Case in point, last week, Charlotte, ECU, two awful offenses with bad quarterbacks and good defenses. Game didn't even come close to the total. Yeah, I mean, look at last week, Minnesota 12-10. Probably what I see with this game. Michigan State's quarterback situation is shitty. Minnesota, they haven't had a lot of success on offense either. Doesn't seem like they can throw the football. The run game has suffered without Ibrahim. I lean under. Last week, Peter, Iowa had 127 total yards against Minnesota. That's unbelievable. I like the under. I don't know why it went up to 41.5.
Yeah, and this is another one where I took the under and the Minnesota team total under. So if Minnesota wins like 21-zip or something like that, 17-3, and I'm totally wrong about the Michigan State side, still cashed 2 out of the 3 bets that I made. All right, let's see a lot of other games we can talk about. Shout out anything if you want to. Let me see, but there's definitely other games that I definitely bet that I was liking. Let me find them. Man, I don't even know. I guess Mississippi State Auburn. Someone asked about that. No-brainer play on the under when it opened at 43. 2 inept offenses at 41. Juice to the under now. I don't know if it's still a good bet. I bet the under, not necessarily because I was sure it was a good bet, just because it was such an obvious no-brainer play that I couldn't not pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, I mean, again, the same property. Two teams that have questionable quarterback play, like to run the football. This is kind of a throwback to what the SEC used to be, right? Smash mouth football, first to 20 wins. That's kind of how I had this game. This is the kind of game that Auburn wants, though. They want to, if you can't test, if you could test Auburn through the air, they're gonna struggle because they can't throw the ball. Yeah, I like the under as well. Not one that I played. I want to throw one out, Peter, that I like to identify teams that maybe one going one way and one team going another way. And that's in the Big 12. I'm looking at Iowa State. Iowa State. This team is won 3 of 4. The only loss came to Oklahoma. And I know they're on the road at Baylor, but it's under a field goal. And to me, Iowa State's going one way, Baylor's going another. This Baylor group is lost without a paddle. Offensively, they're awful. Defensively, they've not been good. And this Iowa State team has found a way through. They've been pretty good on offense, been pretty good on defense. I feel like, again, these are two teams going in opposite directions. I like the Cyclones a little bit. I am a little gun shy, and the only reason why is over the years, Iowa State has struggled to move the football always when I back them. Again, I just think Baylor's going another direction right now.
Well, there has been a huge move. I mean, I think Baylor was a small favorite when they opened. Now Iowa State is -3. Yeah, I would agree with you on that one. Here's two Pac-12 totals that I bet. Jeff Nadu, tell me if you agree or disagree with either of them. I guess let's start with Washington State, Arizona State. I took the under at 51. I think now it's down to 49. Both these teams are very banged up. Especially Arizona State on the offensive line. Just feel like it's going to be a relatively low energy game. The offenses aren't going to be able to do that much. There'll be some points here and there, but I took a shot with the under, and I'd still take it at 49. What do you think?
Yeah, Arizona State is so anemic on offense, man. They really are hard to watch. This should be a welcome sight for Washington State, who hasn't been good recently defensively. Peter, one of the I don't bet a lot of win totals. One of my favorite win totals was Arizona State under. I believe it was 3 wins. I mean, this team is just shocking. They're horrible. But I agree. I think, Washington State probably, goes up, gets 21-24. This is like a 24-13 type of game. That's kind of where I had it. I kind of like Wazoo a little bit. I feel like they get back on track a little bit.
Yeah, it's just that giving that many points on the road with them makes me nervous. I would also take a shot with the Arizona team total under as well. Another under I did take it. Colorado UCLA, baby. Colorado, of course, off a bye. They're going to get up for this one, but I'm not sure that it's going to be like in the early part of the year where it's just going to be like high scoring, electricity. UCLA is a pretty gritty team. I think Colorado is going to come to try to play and match their style. Total's gotten bet down from 64.5 to 61. I'd still take it at 61 though on the under. I do kind of love the under here. Colorado UCLA. What do you think?
This is why I love you, Peter, because I identified at 63 this game going under as well because. Yeah. Colorado's been a bit better against the run, which I think will help them in this game. I'm going to keep saying it. Colorado offensively against these types of teams are going to struggle. Their offensive line is not good. And what that does is completely breaks down what they do on offense. Yeah, I thought this total was too high. It's hard to get to 63, as we talked about now in college football. I don't see this just being a 42-38 type of game. I agree. I will say Craig Wood, very good comment by Craig Wood. I think one of the reasons we're seeing that Colorado State Air Force total dropping and in the 40s, big weather issues there. A lot of snow. It's cold. I think it's in the 20s there. So that might be something where I may just get out of that one. I don't know though, because our Air Force is just going to run the ball, and I don't think it matters either way. I think Air Force will score. So.
Yeah, they got shovels. Let's just shovel the snow off. All right, Jeff Nadu. What about this? Is an interesting one. Vanderbilt and Mississippi. Vanderbilt and Ole Miss. I don't know about the side, but I'm thinking that the over might be a play here. Ole Miss, of course, has not started games fast, and I think that they're going to be, gearing up to at least put up some points here. Vanderbilt is off a bye, so that makes me a little bit nervous. Maybe their defense will get healthy and keep things lower scoring. But I'm thinking that Mississippi's going to want to start strong and offensively as well. So I'm thinking maybe the first half over or the Ole Miss first half team total over. What do you think?
Yeah, this is another good play by you. I kind of identify Vandy as a team similar to Colorado State where they seemingly give up 35 plus every game, and they're good for like 20, 23. They throw the ball a lot. Ken Seals, their quarterback. I think they're improving slightly, but not much. I still think Vandy can add something to the scoreboard, though. They put up 20 against Georgia. Pretty impressive, I guess. Had 5 yards to play. So, yeah, I like the over as well. Ole Miss is always one of those good shootout type of teams that don't play any defense.
Yeah, I would love to take a shot with the Ole Miss first half team total over 23.5 minus 139, which is the current line at Pinnacle. All right, let's talk about it. Jeff Nadu. I don't know. I think I'm going to pass. Ohio State, Wisconsin. Here we go. Ohio State, of course, off the big Penn State win. Now they're giving 14.5 to Wisconsin, and Wisconsin has some injury issues, but still they're at home getting 14.5. I would take Wisconsin here. What do you think? Anything on this one?
Yeah, I like the under. I think what I saw last week from Ohio State on defense was incredibly impressive. I thought they were elite, and they were just suffocating on defense. I'm still not sold on their offense. I mean, I think McCord is getting there. And outside of Marvin Harrison, they have their own injuries on offense. Can he do enough to put this game over? I don't think. I mean, Wisconsin's got a backup quarterback. I think this is another kind of low-scoring, kind of old-school Big Ten game. I'm going to lean under the total.
but not necessarily Wisconsin plus 14.5.
Well, look, if I lean under and in a 2-touchdown game, yeah, I guess I'd probably lean with Wisconsin. It's a lot of points.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at last week, they're 4-point favorites against Penn State. Now they're 14.5-point favorites. I don't know. I think it's a little bit of an overvalue.
Lucas R. likes Ohio State. He says Ohio State covers, and Big Scott 510 says, Pete, hit the I'm smart like Frater from Godfather one more time. No problem, Big Scott. You got it. I'm smart. I had Charlotte last week. I'm smart. Nah, not like you guys think. I'm smart like Jeff Nadu. All right, Jeff Nadu. How about, we got to talk about it. What's the game?
Oregon.
Right, Oregon, Utah. Huge game in the Pac whatever it is, Pac-12. Oregon, Utah. Utah, of course, coming off the big USC win. So normally, I don't know, maybe I'd look to fade them, but this is such a huge game. They're catching a lot of points at home, 6.5, maybe by to 7, low total. What do you think? Oregon, Utah? I'd be leaning Utah, of course.
Yeah, I like the other side. I'm playing Oregon here. I think, again, USC lose to Utah every year. Like, it's not surprising to me that they did that. That's just how it goes. But again, here's the difference. Oregon is just as good on offense as USC, but they have a significantly better defense. Oregon is elite in the secondary. I just don't believe that Utah can attack them vertically the way you need to beat Oregon and stay in a game. I know they hung around last year, but to think they can do it 2 weeks in a row, I just don't. I'm going to lean Ducks. As long as it's under 7, I'm going to lean Ducks. I think there's still a lot to play for if you're Oregon. They're good in the red zone. They're a good defense. You also look at, for as good as Utah's been defensively, this offense is not good. I'm not going to take a game against USC who can't stop anybody and say, oh, they're all of a sudden back. Oregon's just a way better version of USC. Give me Oregon.
Wow. Lucas R. agreeing. Ducks roll. Wow. Robert Franklin, Ducks minus 6.5. Mem Sizzle everyone's liking the Ducks here. I'm surprised. Yeah, it's such a huge game.
I'll also throw this out. I don't play them much. Oregon's a great teaser spot, too. Get them just having to win, find another group. Great spot.
Okay. Very quickly, Billy Friedrich wants to hear the Frank Lopez. Okay. I'll do it fast, though. You expect me to believe that Montgomery over 3.5 strikeouts is a good bet because Sharpie says so? Yes, I do. Bet it. Montgomery over 3.5 strikeouts. All right. What else do we got here on the card? Then we got a lot of huge lines. I'm not sure what to make of them. We got Kansas State minus 17.5 over Houston. Houston, of course, off the top. Texas game. Texas A&M minus 17 against South Carolina. Texas A&M, of course, off a bye and a little bit salty, but that's a lot of points to be giving to South Carolina. I don't know, SMU minus 20 against Tulsa. They're way better, but is that a good line? I bet the under on that one, the SMU-Tulsa game. And then we got, of course, Virginia, Miami, Florida. Virginia coming off the UNC win, and now Miami getting a little healthier, but that's a lot of points to be giving to Virginia after the UNC game. Appalachian State going up against Southern Miss. Appalachian State, not really the Appalachian State of years past, and Southern Miss experimenting now with their quarterback situation. So maybe it's a spot to bet on Southern Miss. A lot of 17-point lines here. I'm not sure what to make of any of them. You got anything on any of those games, Jeff Nadu?
No, none of them really jumped out. There are two that I had interest in, bigger number-wise. Florida State against Wake. Florida State, we obviously know have to continue to win without no doubt. They've generally taken care of business outside of the BC game. This Wake team is off an improbable win. We know they have quarterback issues. We know they have offensive line issues. I think they could be really suffocated in this game. Another game that I liked as well, JMU. I'm kind of getting on them. I don't know where Old Dominion and how they move the ball in the game. To beat JMU, you have to be able to throw the ball. They just don't allow anything on the ground. JMU is elite, man, on defense, man. I just wonder, is their quarterback good enough to get some good drive? That's the one problem I have with JMU. If this is 11.5, maybe I like it a lot more, but you get them by 3 touchdowns clear here.
Yeah.
It's hard. Maybe the under.
That's what I was thinking about, maybe the ODU team total under, but again, that's 13.5 and plus money. Don't know if I can quite pull the trigger on that one. There's a lot of other games that are interesting. I guess USC Cal, you want to talk about that? I would definitely be leaning Cal plus 10.
Yeah, I mean, you have to wonder. I mean, is Caleb Williams? Where's his head at right now? I mean, they're out. I mean, they're not winning anything. We all know he has a future at the next level. You know, this is a Cal team. Justin Wilcox is an elite underdog. The coach there, very good in getting points. They're also much better on offense than they've been in years past. USC can't stop a fucking nosebleed.
Yeah.
I like Cal as well. Wilcox is a very good coach getting points. Very good.
Yeah, I guess we should just quickly mention it. Pitt Notre Dame, similar to the JMU game, favorite with a high total. I mean, with a high spread and a low total, 20.5. I think it's gotten bet up. Total 45. I think it's gotten bet down. Maybe Pittsburgh team total under, but it's 12.5. Pittsburgh Notre Dame. Maybe that's not bettable.
I'm not sure it's not bettable. I mean, here's what I'll say. I mean, against, let's just say, bad teams, teams that can't move the ball or whatever. Notre Dame has blasted them. Navy, Tennessee State, Central Michigan, NC State. I mean, every game they played against bad competition, they've blown out. Throw in the fact that Notre Dame's off a bye. They've got a lot of juices flowing after beating USC the way they did. They do have Clemson on deck, which is a little concerning. But, yeah, to me, here's the problem with Pitt, Peter, and why you can't bet them on any circumstance at this play. Notre Dame is a good defense, and they can't throw the football. Pittsburgh has the lowest completion percentage in the entire country. Nobody lower. Yeah. They can't sustain drives. That's concerning to me. I actually like Notre Dame. I think Notre Dame and Florida State both cruise. I do.
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely take Notre Dame for sure if I had to take a side. I might have it by kickoff. We'll see. Yeah, then a lot of games with weird quarterback situations. The Miami Ohio game. Blaine Gabbert again out for Miami Ohio, but the replacement, probably a significant downgrade, but not a guy without some talent and not a guy without experience. Marshall Coastal Carolina, same deal. Marshall is a small road favorite. Coastal Carolina's quarterback is out. I took a shot with the under on that one at 47. You got anything on either or both of those games?
So here's my thing about the Miami of Ohio game. I looked at that game, didn't understand at all why the number was 7.5, even with a backup quarterback. The MAC in general, there's just not a lot of blowouts when top teams play. And Peter, I don't know if you're aware, but this is a huge game in this side of the conference. These are the two best teams. There's still a bunch to play for if you're Miami of Ohio. Yes. They still have a good defense. I'm gonna recommend. I think this is a really good play. I have to look a little bit more into is Miami Ohio's backup. Is he a freshman? What's kind of his state of affairs? But
no, he's not a freshman. No, he has some experience.
Yeah, like
he's had some starts.
Yeah, they're solid. It's not like Ohio's been any great shakes to me on offense. Yeah, this is a low scoring game where I think taking the dog is probably the play.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind a shot with the under or the Ohio team total under as well. I get UNC Georgia Tech. That's a weird, wacky game. UNC, of course, off of the big loss, and Georgia Tech, what a crazy year they've had. I was, high total. I was thinking the over might be a good play, but now it's even higher, 64.5. Got to be really careful taking overs in the mid 60s in 2023 in college football. Georgia Tech, if UNC wasn't off a bad loss like that, I would definitely take Georgia Tech getting all those points. But after the Virginia game, I'm not sure. You got anything on that one?
No, the ACC is so tough, man. I mean, whether it's like Miami's in a spot today against Virginia where Virginia's off a huge win, huge letdown game. Like Miami should win by 30, but can you trust them to do anything? Like I hate that conference. I'm good.
Yeah, Julian Cesario likes UNC minus 11. Maybe the UNC team total over is worth a play. Yeah, I kind of like the over. I would be liking Georgia Tech if UNC wasn't off that horrible loss. Let's see. What else do we got? Anything else you want to identify, Jeff Nadeau? Oh, UTSA, East Carolina. East Carolina, a shitty team. UTSA minus 18.5. And kind of a low total, 47.5. I guess I'd be leaning UTSA in the over, but I didn't bet it.
Well, I'll kind of piggyback two teams. I always like to find teams, Peter, that either had a tough schedule to begin the season, maybe a quarterback out. UTSA is really starting to locate and fire. Yeah. This team's playing a significantly better. Frank Harris is fully healthy. Another team, Peter, one of the tougher schedules in college football to start the season. was San Jose State. They had a really tough gauntlet. You look at all of a sudden, they are really starting to get going as well. They've won 2 in a row. They put up 52 and 42. Now they head out to Hawaii, a pretty bad team. Numbers 10. I might lay the number here. I think San Jose is starting to find a little bit. And this San Jose group is, I think, a lot better than their schedule indicates. They played Oregon State, Toledo, USC, Air Force, Boise. Tough schedule. Now they're starting to get into a nice spot in their schedule here. I like San Jose a bit here.
All right, Jeff Nadeau, let's go over our best bets and maybe wrap it up a minute or two. Unless there's any other games that you want to talk about or any other games that people want to specifically ask about, because I got to finalize some of my bets here before 12 noon. So let's talk about any games people want to talk about. Then we'll go over once over of our favorite plays from the card. Anything else you want to mention, Jeff Nadeau, or are we good right now?
No, I think we're good. I think we're good.
Texas State, you want to quickly touch on that? I got nothing on that one. Texas State game.
Yeah, so I've seen a couple of people I respect taking Texas State. And Texas State, for me, has been a bit of an enigma this year. Against bad teams, I've liked their team total overs. But Troy is so good on defense, man. They're great against the run. Something tells me, though, that G.J. Kinney's going to have something for them there. That's a big game. I guess gun in my head, I'd grab the 6 with Texas State. But you have to recognize that Texas State is not a good defensive team. And that concerns me.
All right, let's go over the whole card because normally I try to do 2 or 3. Last week I identified 2 dogs, both from 1, forced myself to give Auburn as a third. That one lost by a half. Today's card, I don't know. Who knows? I got a whole bunch of plays I'm liking. I'm just going to friggin' list them all. West Virginia +7. Yeah, I'm liking that one. Yeah, so shoot me. Tulsa SMU under, even at 55.5. Yeah, I'm liking that. If it's wrong, whatever. Shoot me. Kansas +8, +7.5. I'm liking that one. NC State +9.5. Liking that one. North Texas at +6.5 or +7. Liking that one. Duke Louisville. I'm going to hold off on that one for now. Let's see. What else do we got here? Let me see. Yeah, that BYU Texas game. Yeah, I'll hold off on that one for now. Nebraska team total under. I'm liking that one. Rice +10. I'm liking that one. Yes, I am liking that one. What else do we got? That I'm liking? Colorado UCLA under, even at 61. Liking that one. Washington State, Arizona State under, even at 49. Liking that one. And that wraps up the card for me of my top plays. That was like 10 or 12 that I just rattled off. What are your top plays here, Jeff Nadeau?
I'm going to go Kentucky +4. Really like that one. I'm going to take Rice. I played that one when we were talking about it. I recommended that one. I'm also going to, Peter, I'm going to go a little bit more, aggressive. I'm going to go North Texas +220. I think they beat Memphis. I'm going to follow the wise guys with that one. And then I'm also going to add one that I also like. I think Notre Dame beats up Pitt today. I think that group is really just kind of in his zone.
Don't overthink it.
Yeah, no. And Pitt,
don't overthink it.
They could be really kind of hamstrung on how they move the ball. One other one real quick, Peter. We've seen UNLV all year. They've been a really decent team, right? They cover numbers, but they haven't stepped up in a while and played a good team. Fresno, I think we could classify as a good team. I mean, UNLV hasn't been, I think, competitive again. They haven't played a tough opponent in a long time. This seems like a big step up, doesn't it?
Yeah, Fresno has quarterback issue though. Questionable. The Miley Keene questionable ankle.
Okay.
I guess he's going to play questionable. I don't know what that means, but yeah. All right. That was a great show. We broke the hell down out of the entire card. We got a whole bunch of plays. Perky Sanderson closing out the show by once again saying double down alert. Oklahoma -6 max play. I'm on Kansas. Go ahead. Yep.
Can we ask this guy, what's his name? Perky
Sanderson III, which means that there's 2 other. Go ahead.
Where are you getting -6? And Perky,
He bought down. He admits he bought down.
Stop with the whole monster play crap. You're buying 3 points, bro.
Okay.
What monster play is it?
He bought it down. Look,
that's
Perky
weak,
Sanderson.
Peter. That is weak. That's weak. It's a monster play, but you bought 3 points. What the hell are we doing here?
I think that's look. If you make a minus 500 favorite monster play, that's weak. Buying down across from 8, 7.5 to 6. I think that's justifiable.
Hey, Peter, I have a monster play. Notre Dame money line. That's my monster play today.
No. You could do a monster play if you wanted to buy him down to 17. That would be okay.
Peter, I'm telling you,
that would be acceptable.
I agree with Robert Franklin. Stumptony's going on in that. I'm telling you, Aaron Daniels is going to trot out there. I'm telling you. I got a weird feeling.
All right. So Jeff Nadu's monster play of the week is Notre Dame bought down to minus 17. Not a huge money line favorite there, but more than 20.5. And that will wrap it up. Again, Perky Sanderson. We'll see what happens in this Oklahoma game because Perky Sanderson the third. He thought I was smarter than to take Kansas, but unfortunately, I am not Perky Sanderson. I am on Kansas. We'll see how it turns out, and we'll see all you next week. Okay, we're not going to wrap it.
I'm not making fun of you, bro. How can you justify saying it's a max best bet, but you've bought 3 points? Wouldn't you love it where it was like? I don't know. It's just wild.
Maybe he's doing some irony shit. That happens all the time. You never know when someone's doing some irony shit on you and you're not smart enough to catch it. He says, I bought it at minus 6. Fun to be made up for max plays. I do it all the time. Yeah, I mean, look, buying from 10 to 6 on the opener, that's a little bit iffy if you can even buy it. Buying from 7.5 to 6 if you're really liking it, that's defensible, justifiable. Perky Sanders, I bet 1,000. Woo! Oh, okay. I'm not making bet, brother. Woo! Supermax is $2,000 with Perky. Wow.
But if you like it, why did you buy? Like, if you're that confident, wouldn't you just bet it at where it is? I'm lost.
Maybe he's got a distribution that says that there's a lot more value at minus 6 at a favorite line than at 7.5.
That's a funny comment from Billy Friedrich. That's a funny comment.
Supermax, hell yeah. All right, great show, guys. I gotta friggin' go finalize some of my bets with all the information that I've gotten. We'll see y'all next week right here, Pub Sports Radio, 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time.